got a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your hand. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on. Let me pull you out. That bad luck bites hard, but it don't get the crown.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you with Toadstool Sports for Saturday, June 13th. Bad day on the show yesterday. Neither game was anywhere close to going under the total. Spencer Strider was awful. In the other game, I don't even know what happened in the other game. I think who was pitching for the Yankees? Weathers. Yeah, he did not weather the mild storm that is the Toronto Blue Jays offense. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm done with even talking about it. We're going to move on to today. I'm going to give out 2 baseball plays. That's what I have today. Hopefully we get back on track. It's been a good baseball season so far overall, so this better just be a road bump. I mean, it happens in this game, you know. Let's just get to it, whatever. Hopefully we can get through the show. We have afternoon baseball because it's Saturday. Although Saturday we've had more evening baseball, it seems, recently, where I'm used to it all being like afternoon for a while, but now it kind of is. There are a few evening games, but a lot of afternoon. Feels like old times. St. Louis at Minnesota is the first game. Minnesota won the game yesterday 9-8 in a very high-scoring affair, and neither of these teams have very good bullpens. In fact, Minnesota's bullpen is terrible. Although Joe Ryan pitched that game, and he wasn't that bad in the game. I think a lot of the runs came home later in the game. But, yeah, I don't know what happened. Both bullpens were really bad. Minnesota used 5 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. St. Louis used 3. So St. Louis does have the better and more rested bullpen here. So St. Louis does have a bullpen advantage. They are, where are they at? They're 18th right now in bullpen, so they're a pretty mediocre bullpen, really. Minnesota, 29th, and they have the second worst ERA bullpen-wise as well. This is a very bad Minnesota bullpen. St. Louis is the better offense at 15th. This is based on OPS throughout the season so far. Minnesota is 17th, so they're not that far behind. I arranged the bullpen stats by whip, by the way. Matthew Liberatore is pitching this game for St. Louis. He's not very good. 4.48 ERA, 1.51 whip is quite bad. Can't put 1.5 guys on base per inning, man. He's been slightly better on the road, 4.33 road ERA. Still don't think I would trust him. His last outing against the Reds, which was at home, does not look good. 3 walks in 4 1/3 innings. Kind of a red flag there, although he, I guess, kind of had to stay out there because there were some errors going on in the field behind him. Overall, his numbers are just not very good, though. 2 hittable, more hits than innings pitched by quite a bit. Walk numbers high. Strikeout rate is not too high. Not a whole lot to like with him here, other than the fact that Minnesota does not have that much experience against him, and when they have faced him, they haven't done very well. They have 6 guys who have faced him, 15 at-bats. The only extra base hit is a double from Bell, Josh Bell. 200 batting average, 517 OPS overall, 3-1 strikeout walk ratio. Liberatore, this may not be the worst matchup for him, so I'll give him that. It's possible he pitches all right here. I mean, it's always possible, but, you know. Connor Prelip, the rookie, pitching for the Twins here. He started out looking pretty good, and then he went into either a funk or maybe just because, I don't know if it was because batters started figuring him out, because I don't think he faced that many guys or that many lineups yet for the second time, but he's got a 5.15 ERA now, 1.33 whip. That's not great. Although I think he's a decent pitcher. I think he's got talent. He is better at home, 3.76 home ERA. Looks like he's somewhat getting back to pitching well. 2 starts this month, 14-3 strikeout walk ratio on 10 to third innings. That is pretty good. So he looks like he's kind of rounding back into form a little bit here, although he got pulled before the 5-inning mark against Kansas City, and I'm not sure why in his last outing because his pitch count wasn't that high. So I don't know. Maybe they're being really careful with him because he's young. His overall numbers don't really look too bad, though. His hit rate is pretty good. His walk rate is a bit too high. Strikeout rate is high. And he's facing a St. Louis offense that has never faced him before. I think Prelip might actually do okay here. I probably prefer him over Liberatore in this one. That's probably what my opinion would be in this game. Would be Minnesota first 5. I think that makes sense to me because I would not want their bullpen, obviously. 73% of the tickets, 71% of the cash on St. Louis. Public is coming in on the pitcher that they've heard of and or just the fact that St. Louis has the better record. But there's a reason why Minnesota's a slight favorite here, man. The odds makers continue to tell you that this St. Louis team is not what their record might lead you to believe. They're not really that good. But again, Minnesota's bullpen is they're horrible. So, yeah, I would look first 5 Minnesota. I think that probably makes the most sense in this game. Money's coming in on the over in that game for what that's worth. It's 8.5 is the total in that game. If you're going to go over, full game makes a lot of sense because you want these bullpens involved if you're going to try to go over. There might be some arguments that the first 5 could go under, though. So that's where, I don't want to play a total when everything is kind of in conflict like that, So, or when it is, if it's an under with the starting pitchers, then sometimes I will go first 5 under. That might be, if you did play the total, that probably would actually be my lean in this one, first 5 under. But I think the better approach is Minnesota first 5 money line. Charles, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Gerald, what's up? What are we talking about? A hurricane? I don't know what we're talking about. There was no hockey game last night. All right. New York Yankees and Toronto. Toronto got the win yesterday in a much higher scoring game than expected, 8-5. I don't know what to tell you about that, but whatever. Was that a Weathers joke that you were making there? I have no idea, dude. Weathers, I mean, I don't know, whatever. He did not help us in that one at all. I'm at least happy the Yankees lost, but that's the only thing I could really be happy about. Yankees used 4 relief pitchers in that game. Toronto used a bunch. They used, actually, that looks like 4 as well. My stroke brain can't look at these grids anymore and count the number of rows, man. It's a fucked up thing. Yankees have the slightly better bullpen, I thought. Well, they have a better bullpen ERA. They're ranked 13th in bullpen. Toronto's 10th. Yankees have a better bullpen ERA, but a worse bullpen whip. Yankees have the better offense, obviously. There's no question about that. They're number 2, although Aaron Judge remains sidelined. Or, well, what do you call it? What do you call it in baseball? Because there aren't sidelines. I don't know, but he's out. I don't know if and when he's even coming back. Toronto is 22nd in offense. Cam Schlittler is pitching for the Yankees here. This looks like a pretty good pitching matchup here with 2 good pitchers in this one. Schlittler obviously has been really good. 1.87 ERA, 0.87 whip. He's been really good on the road. 1.09 road ERA. He had one questionable start recently against Cleveland, but even that wasn't even as bad as it looked. He's been really good otherwise. 3 or fewer earned runs in every other start this season. High strikeout rate, very low hit rate, low walk rate. There's really nothing to even poke at here, except that his numbers, believe it or not, are actually not good against Toronto. In 59 at-bats, this is a pretty big sample size. Toronto has a 339 average against him. 747 OPS is not that high, though. 8.5 strikeout walk ratio, but Generally, Toronto's hit him for a lot of contact, dude. They don't have a lot of power hitting against him, but that's still a very high batting average they have against him and a very high amount of at-bats. So Toronto, they're one of the few teams that actually has given Schlittler some problems, it looks like. So they might be able to do something in this game. Kevin Gausman is pitching for Toronto. He's been good, 3.6 ERA, 1.09 whip. He's been better at home, 3.38 home ERA, so both pitchers are in the better of their home road split here. Gausman has allowed 4 earned runs in each of his starts this month, but they were against Atlanta. Atlanta's a good offense, although obviously so are the Yankees. Baltimore, decent offense as well. I think Gausman got a little bit unlucky, though, because he also has a 13-2 strikeout walk ratio over those starts, so his command numbers are still right there. He's pitching well. He's got a decent strikeout rate on the season, pretty low walk rate, pretty low hit rate. He's not as good as Schlittler, but his numbers are very solid. And he has better matchup numbers specifically here. 174 at-bats against the Yankees, 48 strikeouts. 21 walks is not good. That is too many walks. 218 batting average allowed at 680 OPS. So Gausman has the better matchup numbers here. This is a low total, and I agree it's low for a reason. When I first looked at this, the pitching matchup here, I was like, yeah, this looks like some sort of under, obviously. I don't think I want to do that, though, even though the money is coming in on the under. It is clearly possible that Schlittler does pitch well here. I don't think Toronto's faced him this year, but he struggled against them last year. 83% of the tickets, 62% of the cash on the over. So the money is telling you that the under is kind of the right play here. 7.5, very low total, but not a lot of leeway there. If you go full game, these bullpens are a little bit used and maybe slightly questionable. Schlittler, I don't like his matchup numbers. Yankees are the favorite at minus 126 here. An under first 5, I guess, still somewhat makes sense here, but there's no way that I want to do that. I might lean to Toronto in this game, really. Toronto has a slightly more rested bullpen here. They're an underdog at home, and they're one team that's been able to get to Schlittler, so that could possibly continue here, man. I don't know, but he's pitching pretty much out of his mind this year, so I would worry about that a little bit. He is overall the better pitcher than Gausman, but the matchup numbers do kind of tell a different story here. 77% of tickets, 93% of the cash on the Yankees. Of course, it is possible the Yankees bounce back after an ugly performance yesterday, so that could happen as well. Yankees don't hit as well on the road, though. So, I don't know, man. Toronto is an underdog here, and what looks like, at the very least, it could be a competitive pitching matchup here, and you're getting an underdog price with Toronto at home. I think they have a decent chance to be hanging around in that game, so that's the way that I look at it. Not a play. Oh, is Strider hurt again? I have no idea. Oh, he's having an MRI. Oh, God. The Mets are still not as bad as their record looks, but yeah, dugouted. He's not benched because that makes it seem like the manager took him out. Like, that's not what happened. He's hurt. Yeah. I don't know what we're saying here. Both baseball games, they were a torrent of runs. I don't know. Miami and Pittsburgh. Miami won this game yesterday 8-3, which kind of surprised me. Braxton Ashcraft was still pretty good in that game, but the Pittsburgh bullpen had some major issues in the game, and that's pretty much why Pittsburgh lost. Their bullpen sucks. Pittsburgh used 2 guys out of the bullpen, but they pretty much destroyed the game for them. Miami only used 1. Miami is the better bullpen. They're number 6 in bullpen. Pittsburgh is all the way down to 22nd. So there's a big bullpen advantage for Miami here. Pittsburgh has an offensive edge, number 5 in offense. They're really good at home as well. Miami, 19th in offense. Miami's also going with a bullpen game here because they have Lake Bashar, Lake Baikal listed as the starter here. He's going to be an opener. He's got good numbers on the season, but he's been going 2 to 3 innings in these openers. He's been pretty good in doing so. In fact, Miami's won all of his outings this month. One of these was a relief appearance, though. I think his most recent one was a relief appearance. But he's been doing well. He hasn't allowed a run in 7 2/3 innings this month, so he might go out there and throw a few good innings. Who knows? Pittsburgh has hit him well, though. Pittsburgh's got 11 at-bats against him, 455 average, 1357 OPS. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I would want any part of this Miami bullpen game. Bubba Chandler is pitching for the Pittsburgh side. He has not been good this year, though. He's got talent, man. It looked like he was starting to figure it out and pitch well at the end of last season, but this season has not been good. 4.91 ERA, 1.44 whip. He's got a 5.79 home ERA, so he's been bad at home. His whip is definitely too high. He's been somewhat okay-ish this month, I guess, on the road against two good offenses, 10 strikeouts, 4 walks. I mean, the walk number is just his huge concern, though. He walks way too many guys. He's been pretty unhittable, which is good. His strikeout rate's decent. His walk number is crazy high. He's got to figure that out, dude, because I think he's a good pitcher. I think he's a talented young pitcher, and he could definitely bolster this Pirates rotation here. He's got to figure this out. Pitching coaches have got to help him, man. Miami's never faced him before, so he does have that advantage, the advantage of being unfamiliar to the opposing side, but that might not be enough with the way he's been pitching here. Looking at the numbers here, where are we looking? Here it is. Money is coming in on the Miami side. It looks like this game is kind of off the board in a lot of places. I don't know what's going on with this board here. Only FD has a price here, a -142 money line on Pittsburgh. 66% of tickets on Pittsburgh, 93% of the cash on Miami. So the professional money, at least according to this, looks like it's backing the Miami bullpen game. I mean, their bullpen is pretty good, but do you really want a bullpen game here against this Pittsburgh offense in Pittsburgh? I am not so sure about that. Money is also coming in on the over. Totals at 9. The over does make some sense here with a bullpen game against Chandler who walks way too many guys. So I probably wouldn't disagree with an over. The total is pretty high for a reason at 9. I mean, maybe that's the better approach in that game is to look over. I don't know why the price or why the game is just off the board everywhere, though. Strider's fastball is 88. That is a huge problem. He used to throw, mid to upper 90s probably? What is going on with him? I don't know, man. I know he's had, some major surgeries. Yeah, I know they both went over. Yeah, early. Yeah. Yes, UNC won. I saw some of that game. West Virginia is not very good. West Virginia they barely got by Troy in their last game. That's how good they are. West Virginia, I don't know. This is college baseball we're talking about. I don't know much about it, though. I mean, it could mean that West Virginia is undervalued, but I assume UNC is going to be a huge favorite against them. 100, yeah. He's never going to be back to what he once was, dude. It's gone. You can't repair that unless dude, like I said, I just watched Rookie of the Year a few days ago. He's got to fall on his arm and break it, and then that'll allow him to throw 100 miles an hour again. Maybe that's what needs to happen. I also forgot to mention Gary Busey is in that movie too. He's Chet Steadman, the old pitcher on the Cubs that becomes the kid's mentor, basically. All right. San Diego and Baltimore. Baltimore won the game yesterday pretty easily. San Diego is not playing well. Baltimore's won a few games in a row. By the way, I did forget to mention, I think Miami's on a big win streak, right? Yeah, Miami's on a 6-game win streak, so they do have momentum right now, at least. Baltimore's got a few wins in a row. They got some momentum here as well. San Diego has the better bullpen here. San Diego used 2 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. Baltimore used 4, so there's a pretty big bullpen advantage for San Diego here. They're number 5 in bullpen. They're one of the best bullpen ERAs, though. Baltimore is number 17 in bullpen, not particularly good. Baltimore is the better offense. They're ranked 10th. San Diego is dead last, 30th. San Diego is going with Randy Vasquez, who, the advanced analytics guys keep waiting for this guy to totally implode. It hasn't really happened. He's got a 3.63 ERA. 1.3 whip is not great, but it's not horrible. He's been good on the road. 1.82 road ERA, which again makes no sense because San Diego's a pitcher-friendly ballpark. So why he's considerably worse at home, I have no idea. Didn't pitch well in his last game, though, against the Mets. Gave up 4 runs on 8 hits in 4 innings, a couple of walks. So he's having some issues here. His issue is usually the walk number, which is lower than it usually is for him this year. It's kind of a tolerable walk number this year. His hit rate is right around 1 per inning, and his strikeout rate is pretty low. He's not a strikeout pitcher, but he's kind of gotten his walks under control a little bit, so you do have to give him that. So I don't think he's quite as bad as what he was last year and or the year before that or whatever. Against Baltimore, though, he's struggled. They only have 6 guys who have faced him. They have 17 at-bats against him, 353 average, 1127 OPS, 1-2 strikeout walk ratio. I would not really want to trust Vasquez here. He's still not really a great pitcher, even though he is usually good on the road. This is not the easiest matchup for him. And Baltimore is going with Trey Gibson, who's a young guy. I really don't know much about him still. 4.24 ERA so far, but his whip is 1.53, which is very ugly. He hasn't pitched prior to this year in the majors, so this is it for him. He's made 3 starts, 1 relief appearance. He's only made it 5 innings once, and in that outing, he had way more walks than strikeouts. His strikeout walk ratio is terrible. 5 strikeouts and 8 walks in 17 innings. And 18 hits allowed. This is not great. So I don't know what we're expecting to get here out of Gibson. Probably nothing good, although San Diego is a very weak offense, and they've never faced him before. So I guess he has that advantage, but this game kind of looks like an over game to me. I mean, the total's 10 or something around there, so the odds makers are kind of telling you something with that, or actually it's 9.5. The money looks like it's backing the under, though. 62% of tickets on the over, 72% of the cash on the under. I think if I was going to play this game, I'd probably play it over. That would probably be my lean there. Don't really have a whole lot else to say about it. Money is also coming in on San Diego. So professional money looks like it does not trust Gibson. 61% of tickets on Baltimore, 77% of the cash on San Diego. San Diego is an underdog here. Baltimore's minus 130. And if you take San Diego, you should do it full game because you'll get a big bullpen advantage if you take them. Kyle, what's up? I forgot to throw you on the screen there as well. All right. Yeah, those are my thoughts on that game, whatever. Seattle and Washington, I liked Seattle in that game yesterday. It would have been an easy win. I should have just put that on my card. I know I didn't mention it as one. I mean, I don't know if you could sense that I felt a little bit more strongly about that one, but I was thinking about it, and man, it was a nice situational spot for Seattle, and I like the starting pitcher better. That's usually a spot that I will jump in on. I'm pissed that I didn't do it. The only reason I didn't was because Littell had good matchup numbers. He sucks, dude. Littell sucks. He's bad. Washington's bad at home. So many things lined up against Washington in that game. Return home spot. They were traveling cross-country. Seattle was coming in from Baltimore, although Seattle had a rest disadvantage. So that was the other reason why I laid off it, the rest disadvantage. But Seattle's got the better bullpen. Seattle had the way better starting pitcher on the mound yesterday. It was such an easy win for Seattle. Man, I should have done it. Seattle only used 1 guy out of the bullpen, so their bullpen is the better one, and it's very rested here. Washington used 2 guys out of the bullpen. Washington, 24th in bullpen. They're a bad bullpen, man. Seattle is 15th, but they have one of the best bullpen ERAs. They're a pretty solid bullpen. Washington is a good offense, 15th. Number 5, Seattle is 14th. Washington, not quite as good offensively at home, though. And a lot of their pitching is bad at home. But this pitching matchup may not be as good for Seattle here. And Washington, they are in a spot that is typically a decent spot, which is when a team returns home from the road and they have that bad, distracted spot in that first game. Oh, and by the way, Washington, the other thing is they blew a 9-1 lead in the 8th inning in the previous game against San Francisco. And I know that's not really a big matchup against San Francisco or whatever, but when you blow a big lead like that, a lot of times that will kind of hang over into the next game. So there was a lot as far as, like, there were a lot of negatives for Washington in that game coming off of that San Francisco game, whatever. Seattle won 10-2, but now Washington's in a positive spot because when you do return home and you have that bad spot and you don't play well, a lot of times you bounce back in the next game. You got whatever you have to do at home, a lot of it's just out of the way now. You got smacked in the mouth. You can go just focus on baseball again, So it's a more positive spot here. It's a better pitching matchup for Washington here than yesterday's was. Luis Castillo is pitching for Seattle. I still don't know what's going on with this guy because his career numbers are way better than what he's done this year. 5.16 ERA, 1.36 whip. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's been basically the same home and away. It doesn't even matter. He has pitched well in like 3 outings in a row now, though, so that's a good sign. One of them was at the A's Stadium, which was a shortened outing, but still, that's not an easy environment to pitch in. So, decent sign. He is pitching a little bit better right now. I expect him to somewhat come back into form here, and maybe that is what's happening right now because there's no real reason for him not to unless he has some sort of injury or something. He's not that old. He's 33. His career, he's been pretty steady with like a whip in like the 1.2s and an ERA in like the high 3s. So, I still don't know what's going on with him, but he might be pitching a bit better now. His numbers against Washington are okay. In 25 at-bats, they have 5 guys who have faced him. Miles Mikolas has a double off him, though. He should be in the lineup, man. They should put him in. That's ridiculous. He's obviously not going to be in the lineup, even though he's 1 for 3 with a double and a walk off of Castillo. I don't know how. In their entirety, in 25 at-bats, they have a 280 average against Castillo, 693 OPS. 2.2 strikeout walk ratio, but remember, Mikolas is obviously not going to be in the lineup because he is a pitcher. Based on this, he's a better hitter than he is a pitcher. Oh, my God. Castillo, he might pitch well here, man. I don't know. Cade Cavalli is pitching for Washington. He's not that bad. 3.88 ERA. Those whip is bad. I know, 1.44 whip. He's pitched mostly better recently, though, and he's been better at home, too. Unlike most of Washington's pitchers, he's been one of the few that's been better at home. 3.5 home ERA. Wasn't really that good in his last outing at Arizona. He's been okay this month. In the month of May, he actually pitched pretty well, and he hasn't completely fallen off in his 2 starts this month, so he's not pitching that badly right now. He's got a high strikeout rate on the season. His hit rate is definitely too high, though, and his walk rate is a bit too high. But his strikeout stuff is there, and that's kind of a good sign. And Seattle's never faced him before, so he might have that advantage of unfamiliarity against Seattle, where, as I always say, when a team hasn't faced a pitcher before and that pitcher has decent stuff, that offense can sometimes struggle against that pitcher. So I don't know, man. I mean, this game, it might kind of sound insane, but we might be looking at maybe a first 5 under possibility here. It sounds crazy. I don't want to do it, but that might be the way to look at this one. The money's hitting the over, though, on the full game. 79% of tickets, 93% of the cash on the over. Totals around 8.5 or 9. And if you go over full game, makes more sense because Washington's bullpen is pretty much trash. The money is backing Washington, though, which is interesting. The professional money looks like it doesn't have faith in Castillo. 64% of tickets on Seattle, which makes sense. I mean, the money's going to back Seattle here because they've been the better team recently. Washington is a slight favorite here. But the tickets are on Seattle. It makes sense that they'd be kind of a public side because they've been playing better recently. But Washington's got 55% of the cash. So do with that info what you want. It is at least a bounce back spot for Washington. Cavalli does at least have the unfamiliarity edge. I think if you play Washington, you should do it first 5, though. Even though the price might be a little bit higher, it probably won't be that much higher. But you'll get to avoid their bullpen, which I think you want to do that. You want to avoid their bullpen. So that's how I feel about that game. Not strongly, let's put it that way. ESPN Unlimited has Arizona and Cincinnati. Arizona won the game yesterday. Cincinnati has been playing some really bad baseball recently. They've lost 7 of their last 8 games or whatever this is. But they were in a bad spot yesterday. They returned home from the Pacific Coast, returned home from the road. I mentioned I leaned Arizona on that game. Arizona did get the win. So now, like I said with Washington, it could kind of be a bounce-back spot possibly for Cincinnati here after losing that game in the return home spot. A lot of times teams will bounce back in that next game. Cincinnati used 3 relief pitchers. Their bullpen is very bad, though. Arizona has the better bullpen. Although Arizona used a lot of guys out of it. They used 5 relief pitchers, and they're not a great bullpen. Even though they're ranked number 8, Arizona has a bullpen ERA above 4, so I don't really trust them that much. Cincinnati is the last ranked bullpen, though, although they have the 3rd worst ERA right now behind Colorado and Minnesota, but they're still a bad bullpen. So I kind of would want to avoid both bullpens in this game. In whatever I do. Arizona's been pretty bad offensively. They've fallen all the way down to 26th. That's not good. Cincinnati 18th. This is a pitcher-friendly ballpark, or excuse me, a hitter-friendly ballpark, in Cincinnati. So maybe the offenses could get something going here. But versus these pitchers, I'm not sure. Arizona is going with Michael Soroka, Garrett's favorite. He's pitching well, 3.28 ERA. 1.15 whip. The Braves maybe could use him right now. He's doing well. He's not been good on the road, though. 5.4 road ERA, so he's in the bad of his home road splits here. But he is pitching well. He's been good for, like, pretty much the last month plus at this point. I know he gave up 4 runs against the Dodgers, but that's the Dodgers. And he still had 6 strikeouts, 1 walk in that one. So he's pitching well. His command numbers have been good basically the whole season. He's got a pretty good strikeout rate, a pretty low walk rate, pretty low hit rate. None of these numbers are bad. So, yeah, he's been good. His numbers against Cincinnati are kind of all over the place. These are kind of strange numbers. 21 at-bats. He's only allowed a 238 average, but he's also allowed a 952 OPS. So they have not been able to get a lot of hits off him, but the hits that they do have been hits for power in a lot of cases, a couple of home runs. They do also have 7 walks against him compared to 5 strikeouts, but he's really not like a walk-heavy pitcher, though, so I don't know how to read into that. I would tend to think that he should pitch well here more than not, although I worry about his home road splits. I worry a little bit about those matchup numbers, so I don't really want to back him here, but he is pitching well right now. Cincinnati's going with Rhett Lauder, who... he's young. He's got the look to be a pitcher here, but he hasn't figured it out yet. 5.01 ERA, 1.45 whip. Those numbers are not good. He's been better at home, though, 3.78 home ERA, so he has the better of the home road splits here, but his walk numbers have been ridiculous, and I don't mean good. I mean bad. Over his last 3 starts, he's allowed 4 or more walks in all of them, or his 3 appearances. He hasn't gone more than 3 innings in any of those. Ridiculous. 13 walks over that span compared to only 6 strikeouts. Is that good? Yeah, no. No, it is not. He has a pretty low strikeout rate, which does not go with his appearance, where he looks like he should be striking a lot of guys out. His hit rate is pretty good, but his walk rate is crazy high, obviously. That's his main issue, is the walks. He's got to do something about that. Arizona only has 1 hitter who's faced him, Arenado. He's 1 for 2 with a strikeout and a single against him. So Lauder is unfamiliar to Arizona here, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. Soroka, I mean, he's not in his good home road splits, but I don't know, man. I mean, I'd probably rather back Soroka here if I was going to back one of these 2 pitchers, even though his matchup numbers don't really look that good. Let me look here. The money seems to agree with that. 80% of tickets, 89% of the cash on Arizona. They are favored. They're around minus 130 something here. I think you could still probably go full game with Arizona if you did play them, because Cincinnati's bullpen is just that atrocious. The money's also backing the over here. I could definitely see some arguments for it. Soroka, I mean, he still has bad matchup numbers, bad road split here. Lauder is just not very good. And you got both bullpens that I think you could fade them both. So a full game over here definitely does make some sense to me as well. 61% of tickets, 93% of the cash on the over. That might even be the better way to look at this game, really. I think there should be some runs here between these 2 teams. You know, I'd rather back that than trying to figure out which team is going to actually win this game, Total's around 9, which is probably about where it should be. All right, Atlanta and the Mets. This is, this pitching matchup, I don't know about this. The Mets won yesterday 7-5. Atlanta almost came back after I think they were losing 7-2 with Strider on the mound. Nolan McClain pretty much did his job, but the rest of what went on did not go well. The Mets bullpen didn't really do that great either. So something to consider here. The Mets used more of their bullpen yesterday. They used 4 guys out of the bullpen. Their bullpen is now all of a sudden pretty taxed over the last couple of days. That's not good. They used a couple of their better relievers multiple days in a row, too, to win that game, so that's not good either. 2 save situations in a row. So I would not really want to participate I would not want to partake, let's say, in the Mets bullpen today. Atlanta only used J.R. Ritchie out of the bullpen. Starter/long relief, man. So, Atlanta. So Atlanta's bullpen is very rested here, and they're the number 1 bullpen. They've been shockingly good. I mean, they have a bullpen ERA that's almost a half run better than every other team in Major League Baseball, and their whip is better. So, yeah, they're the number 1 bullpen. The Mets are still the number 3 bullpen, but they're probably not quite as good as that, and they are unrested right now. Atlanta's number 3 in offense. Mets are horrible offensively at 29th. So Atlanta does have a big edge there, although I think Atlanta also is actually better at hitting on the road as well. Atlanta's going with Martin Perez here. He's been good. Again, he's an older dude. He doesn't strike guys out. He relies on locating his pitches and getting guys to hit into soft contact. It's been working, though. 3.02 ERA, 1.06 whip. As I say, there's a reason why he sticks in the league. And he's always on like a different team, basically, but he's always on some team, And he's like pretty much always in their starting rotation. He hasn't been as good on the road, though. 4.25 road ERA. But he's still pitching pretty well. I mean, he's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in all but 2 outings this entire season. This is not bad. Like, at the very least, he's keeping his team in these games every time he goes out there. He's got a pretty low hit rate, actually really low. His walk rate's a bit high, though. His strikeout rate is low, but that's expected. He's not a strikeout pitcher. But he's been getting the job done. This is probably not the most difficult matchup for him here. He's got 77 at-bats against the Mets, though, so they are familiar with him. 14 strikeouts, 5 walks, 260 average allowed, 707 OPS. Not terrific numbers for him here. Marcus Semien does a lot of damage against him, but the rest of these hitters haven't done much of anything, really. So, I mean, I guess Bo Bichette, Juan Soto, in a very small sample size, they've done a little bit, but Perez has generally been pretty good against these guys, so not bad. Sean Manaea was listed as the starter for the Mets here, but they might put an opener in front of him because now they're undecided. So I'm pretty sure what the Mets are doing here is they're going to do what they've done with Manaea, like basically throughout this season. He's going to pitch like probably 4 or 5 innings, whatever, but they're going to put an opener in front of him. So I'm pretty sure that's what the Mets are doing here. So you're going to get some opener, probably Brazaban or whatever, and then Manaea will come in after that. That would be my guess as far as what they're doing here. Manaea has not been very good. 5.02 ERA, 1.44 whip. I don't think he has hair like this still. That was a long time ago, but yeah, ridiculous. Manaea, he's been worse at home as well. 5.48 home ERA. Not really good stuff here, man. Although he's been, I guess, a little bit better over his last few outings, since they've been kind of giving him like almost a starter's workload-ish, sort of. Although they're taking him out around like 60 to 70 pitches here. But he's been efficient with his pitches. He's really not pitching that bad recently. His overall numbers, really the walk number is the main problem, and that has been kind of an issue with him throughout his career. He's allowed a few too many hits, too, but his strikeout rate is actually pretty good, and his walk rate is too high, like I said. His numbers against Atlanta throughout his career are not very good. In 62 at-bats, 11 strikeouts, 4 walks, 306 average, 800 OPS. I think the way that I would look at this game is I think I would probably just lean to Atlanta here, man. They have, I think they have a pretty significant bullpen edge given what the rest scenario looks like here. I would prefer Perez plus the Atlanta bullpen coming in behind him against this bullpen game, which probably is going to involve Mania for multiple innings that the Mets are doing here. I think Atlanta also in a bounce-back spot after yesterday, right? Like, they're the better team. My concern would be that it looks way too easy to play Atlanta. They're actually an underdog here. And, I heard, like, some of the arguments from the professional bettors yesterday. They had arguments for backing Atlanta that were like, Atlanta's just clearly the better team, so you're getting them as an underdog. You rarely get them as an underdog. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but that's kind of like the public way of thinking, though. You know what I mean? Like, my way of thinking is always, well, there's a reason why the odds makers made the other team the favorite. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why the Mets are favored here. The odds makers are not handing you money. They're not like, here's Atlanta as an underdog. You know what I mean? So that does kind of scare me here, that the odds makers are telling you the Mets are not as bad as their record indicates at the very least, and that they're a slight favorite in this game, almost around a pick-em price. However, given what I just showed you at this matchup, I do lean to Atlanta in this game, though. And I considered putting it on my card, actually, but one of my main concerns was really that it looks too easy. And I don't love that when it looks too easy. 64% of tickets, 94% of the cash on Atlanta. I mean, Perez does kind of worry me a little bit, but I still think Perez plus the Atlanta bullpen should get the job done in this one, in the bounce-back spot. And the money is agreeing with it. Like I said, it looks like the professional money strongly backing Atlanta here, and I do agree with it. The total is also getting some money on the over for whatever that's worth. The total's around 8.5. I could see the argument for it, just that the pitching setup doesn't look that great for either pitchers or for either team, really. So possible there are some runs here, but I could also see it being a lower scoring game than people might expect. So I don't know, man. Like Perez, again, he's facing a really weak offense here at the very least. All right, Detroit at Cleveland. Maybe the surprise of the day here because Skubal is back, man. He's pitching for Detroit today, so that is going to help Detroit. It's not over yet for Detroit. Detroit did use 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Their bullpen is definitely worse than Cleveland's. Cleveland only used 2 relief pitchers yesterday, but they did use their closer, which I think is Gaddis, because they won the game by 1 run yesterday. Cleveland's bullpen is very rested, though. They were off on Thursday. So Cleveland does have a bullpen advantage here. They're ranked 11th in bullpen. Detroit is 21st. Although their ERAs are not too far off. But yeah, Detroit, a little bit less rested. Neither offense has been that good. Detroit's 20th. Cleveland is 27th. Cleveland has really fallen off, and their offense has been struggling at home for sure. And it's not going to make it better that they have to go up against Skubal, who, dude, I thought Skubal might be out for, I thought he might not come back this season, but he's coming back already. So I don't know if they're rushing him back. I mean, I don't think they would. I don't think they would rush him back in a season that might be a lost season. You know what I mean? So they're not gonna they're not gonna put him out there and get him injured, right? You know what I mean? Like, they're putting him out there because they think he's ready to go. So there is that. Skubal, we know he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. We'll see if he is back in form already. 2.7 ERA, 0.95 whip. I didn't look at what his rehab starts looked like. I assume he pitched at least a couple of times in AAA, but whatever. I mean, he's Skubal. If he's anywhere near back to form, he should be pretty good, right? And I tend to like to back veterans that are coming back from injury because I think they actually get a little bit undervalued because people are hesitant to back them because it's like, oh, this guy's injured. What is he going to look like? But I'm more of the opinion that this guy's a veteran. He's been through situations like this before. Everybody's going to be pumped for him to come back out here, you know. The team's going to rally behind him most likely. You saw what the team's mental state was when he went down, right? Like, the team stopped playing well. And now that he's back, the team might have, a renewed sense of energy. You know what I mean? So I tend to like backing those guys. And like I said, he's only going to be back if he actually is ready to go. So I tend to like backing these pitchers that are veterans that are coming back from injury. Skubal, oh yeah, by the way, we have to look at his numbers here. 2.7 ERA, 0.95 whip this season. He's been better on the road as well. 2.35 road ERA this season. That was up through the end of April, which is when he went down. His overall numbers were good, as expected. Low hit rate, very low walk rate, high strikeout rate, all the things that are good. His career against Cleveland, they have 153 at-bats against him, but he's been good against them. 51-9 strikeout walk ratio, 242 average, 598 OPS allowed. So, yeah, he's been good against them. Joey Cantillo, pitching for Cleveland, 4.57 ERA, 1.51 whip is very bad, though. He's putting too many guys on base. He has been a little bit better at home, 4.08 home ERA, but I don't think he's trustworthy here, man. He just got kind of lit up by Texas in his last outing. That is not a good sign. Not a good Texas offense, and that was in Texas, where Texas is a very low-scoring home team. Yeah, that's not good. I would not trust Cantillo here. He's got a really high walk rate on the season. His hit rate is fine. His strikeout rate is fine. Just the walks are ridiculous. The walk rate is too high. He's not good enough. And his numbers against Detroit, though, they actually are not that bad. In 44 at-bats, 227 average, 742 OPS is still below that 750 threshold. 11-7 strikeout walk ratio is not good, though. But, yeah, I think Detroit is probably the way to look here. Again, I mean, if Skubal is anywhere near back to what he usually is, he should be able to outpitch Cantillo here. I don't think I would want the Detroit bullpen, though. And the money is fading Detroit, actually. 72% of tickets, only 69% of the cash on Detroit. So the money, generally, I think, though, that really what that's saying is that I think the professional money is basically just saying you're paying too much for Skubal still. I don't know that you really are, though. Around minus 150 seems kind of reasonable, although that's the full game. I think if you're going to go first five on this, which probably would be my recommendation, would be to go Detroit first five here. You're not going to get a good money line price on it, probably. It'll be higher than the full game because the odds makers know Detroit's bullpen is not as good, and that's why I would want to take them out. But I think to do that, you'd probably have to lay a half run on the run line probably for Detroit in the first five, and then you need them to be winning after five, but obviously that's certainly possible. So I think that's the way I would do that. Lunchtime, what's up? Dude, are you serious? You're trying to get off of heroin? Dude, I hope you're able to do it, man. I mean, I'm not a hard drug user, man. I got off of alcohol. So, I mean, I guess I'm not the worst person to ask about this, but I've never been into like these super addictive drugs of any kind. You know what I mean? I'm a good boy. Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, like a day at a time, push through, push through the withdrawals, whatever. It's going to be painful. Get through it. And once you get through it, it gets easier with each day. You know what I mean? You'll get through it and then you'll start feeling really good. Like once you get through that initial like bad period, you know what I mean? Yeah. Well, thank you, sir. Thanks for checking out the show. I appreciate it. Hell yeah, dude. I'll pray for you, man. I hope you can get off that stuff because it is very bad. It's very destructive. So, yeah. Hopefully you can. I think you can, man. I have faith. You can definitely get through this. I would also say, rely on like support mechanisms like friends, family, if you have that around you. Rely on that too. Or, I'm not big into like AA and stuff like that, but maybe something like that could potentially help. Just some sort of like group, like, or talk to people that have been through that situation before. You know what I mean? But like in person, all right, the next game up is one of my two plays of the day here. And it was the other under that I recommended yesterday that was not correct, but that was because the Red Sox just barely got it there by scoring way more runs than you would expect in a 10-1 win yesterday. So the game did go over, but we're going to go under in Rangers-Red Sox. Like I talked about yesterday, this just reeks of an under series. You got two offenses that aren't good, two bullpens that are quite good. good pitching in the starting rotations here. Yeah, this just seems very, very under-ish to me. Yesterday, the starting pitching I didn't think was quite as good as it is in this one, so I like this one a little bit better, although I liked it yesterday as well, but left it off my card. At least that one, luckily, we did, because that one was also a loser. The other one was a winner, though, the Detroit-Cleveland one. That was the one under out of the 4 that I really liked yesterday. I left that one off my card. That was the one winner, so that does suck. But, yeah, looking at this game, man, I mean, we have 2 good bullpens to start this out. The Red Sox used 3 guys out of the bullpen yesterday, but they're a pretty rested bullpen right now. Texas is a little bit less rested than that, but they only used 2 guys out of the bullpen, and not their better relievers, of course, because it was a blowout win for the Red Sox yesterday. So both bullpens are pretty intact. Some of the best arms were not used by either team yesterday because it was a blowout. So I like to see that, right? Like, especially because one team put up a ton of runs, so I think that might give you a little bit of value in the next game on the under. It's a situation where I like playing the under quite a bit, right? Because you had a blowout in the first game, which looks like a high-scoring game. But what happened in that game was the bullpens didn't have to use their better relievers. You know what I mean? So I think you get a little bit of value here looking towards an under. You got the Red Sox number 2 in bullpen, and I think they have the 3rd best bullpen ERA probably right now. So they're a good bullpen. Texas is number 4 right behind that. They have one of the best bullpens, bullpen ERAs as well. Texas is going with Jacob deGrom. He's really good. We know this, obviously. 3.18 ERA, .99 whip. He's not that good on the road at all, though. 5.14 road ERA. And Fenway Park is a lot more hitter-friendly than Texas is. But here's the thing, man. The Red Sox and Texas have both been awful offensively in their home stadiums, so that should help deGrom here. He's not, like, I know he hasn't been good on the road, but I think this is going to be one of the easier matchups that he could draw here, because the Red Sox, their offense has still been really bad, which I forgot to show that, by the way. Red Sox are 24th in offense, Texas 23rd. So another reason, like I said, to like the under here is these offenses have not been good. Red Sox have also been a pitiful home team. The Red Sox, in fact, have the worst home record in baseball, worse than Washington. Which is pathetic, because the Red Sox usually have a decent home advantage. And I talked about how that's going away, man. There's this shift in attitude and culture where, like, the Yankees will come to town and the Red Sox the Red Sox store will be selling Yankees merchandise. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here, dude? Like, I grew up through the 90s, the 2000s, you know. This is supposed to be a rival. You hate your rival. Like, it was unheard of for them to be selling any Yankees merchandise. Like, if you saw, like, basically, you heckle the Yankees fans that you see. There's no Yankees merch being sold in the fucking Red Sox official store. And you get the vendors on the streets that are selling the Yankees suck shirts and stuff like that. That's the way that it's supposed to be. I don't know what's going on here, but yeah, this blows. The Red Sox the fan base needs to get, like, super intense again and make this a home advantage again. But whatever, I'm rambling. I think deGrom is going to pitch well here, though. That would be my guess. I know he's been bad on the road, but his recent road start at St. Louis was kind of more similar to this matchup where, St. Louis is a more pitcher-friendly park, but it reminds me of this game in a way because it's another team that I just don't think scores that much at home. So he did well in that outing. He's been good in both outings this month. deGrom has. And in fact, he hasn't allowed a run. And he has a 14-3 strikeout walk ratio this month. So he's in good form. Over his last 3 starts, he's been good. Although I know his road starts were bad in the month of May, but he faced Houston and the Yankees for 2 of those, though. So, and his strikeout walk ratio against the Yankees wasn't even that bad, but those are 2 good offenses. So he did better earlier in the season. He had a good start on the road against the Dodgers, so I'm not as worried about his extreme home road splits. He's got a really good hit ratio. His walk rate is pretty low as well. Doesn't allow too many home runs. He is a fly ball pitcher, and that can be kind of a concern in Fenway, but the Red Sox just can't hit. They haven't taken advantage of it, so I don't really see them doing that here. And deGrom has a high strikeout rate as well, and he dominates the Red Sox, although it's only in 19 at-bats, but they have not done well against him. They have no extra base hits, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks, 105 average. 333 OPS. So the Red Sox are at multiple disadvantages here where they're not even really familiar with deGrom, so they haven't really seen him, and he's done well against the guys that have faced him. So I think he matches up fine here. Ronier Suárez, Ranger against the Rangers. Ronier Suárez is pitching for the Red Sox. He's been pretty good. 3.18 ERA, 1.14 whip. He is a little bit worse at home, so I know we have the home road splits working against us here, I know. 3.77 home ERA, but that's still not even bad. And Suárez was good in his last outing at New York at the Yankees, so he's in pretty good form right now. I know he gave up some runs in his previous outing at Cleveland, but he had 10 strikeouts in that game, so his strikeout walk ratio over his last couple outings have been good, so he's in pretty good form currently, I would say, after he had a little bit of a blip in really in just one start against Atlanta. I think he got injured in the previous start, so I can kind of give him a pass for some of that. He's got pretty good numbers overall in the season, pretty low hit rate. His walk rate is a little bit high, and his strikeout rate is okay. Numbers against the Rangers, this is pretty much domination. He's got a huge sample size here, 73 at-bats, 18 strikeouts, 5 walks, 123 average allowed, 316 OPS. So you can see why I like the under here. Both starting pitchers have really good matchup numbers here. Suárez in a bigger sample size. So, yeah, under is the play here. We'll keep the bullpens in it in this one because, again, I already explained why. All right. Yeah, and the money looks like it agrees with this. 63% of tickets on the over, 66% of the cash on the under. Yeah, the total's at 8. I think that's maybe even slightly high given what this pitching matchup is. This pitching matchup looks almost like a 7.5 total type of game here. So, yeah, under 8, I'll do it gladly. I did see some 7.5s at some of the books out there when I looked too. So, there's not a huge difference between 7.5 and 8, though. Well, I'd rather have the 8, obviously, especially at a price around like this, where I found it at minus 112. That was at FD, by the way, if you're wondering. But 7 is a more key number than 8, though. The odd numbers are all more key in baseball because that's how you break the tie. All right. Gerald, yes, everybody praying for lunchtime. There you go, man. Yeah, yesterday it did not go well. It was not a day to play the unders. I should have gone with Seattle, man. I was feeling it. I don't know what I was doing. All right, Dodgers and the White Sox. This is a good series, man. This might be like the big series of the weekend, I guess. I don't know. White Sox won 8-2 yesterday. Crazy stuff. This Dodgers bullpen is starting to have some problems. They were really good up until recently. They used 3 guys yesterday. The White Sox bullpen is not great. They used 3 as well, but the White Sox bullpen's more rested here, so I don't really know that the Dodgers have that much of a bullpen advantage here. They're number 7 in bullpen now. Their bullpen's been struggling over the last week or so. White Sox number 16 in bullpen, so I don't really want to trust them, but I think the bullpens are actually pretty closely matched in this game here. The offenses are as well. Dodgers number 1, White Sox number 4. Yeah, believe it or not, it sounds insane, but White Sox, Dodgers, this is kind of a close matchup here between these two teams, although the odds makers are telling you no. The odds makers are giving you, they're lining the Dodgers as a massive favorite here. And that's because Yamamoto is on the mound. Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He obviously is the better of the starters. I'm not going to disagree with that. But I think the price is probably still too high on the Dodgers, obviously it usually is. 2.68 ERA, 0.92 whip for Yamamoto. He's good, obviously. He's better on the road. 2.45 road ERA. Went 8 innings of 1-run ball, 2-hit ball in his last game against Anaheim. He's been really good over his last 3 starts after he had a little bit of a road bump against San Francisco, but that was only because they hit some home runs against him. He's been really good. Really low hit rate, low walk rate. His strikeout rate's not that high, but whatever. He's the World Series MVP from last year, isn't he? Yeah, he's Yamamoto, man. And the White Sox have not really seen much of him. They only have 3 batters who have faced him. They're only a combined 1 for 9. The only hit is, of course, Benintendi, as it always is, because he's been around forever. former Red Sox player, Benintendi. And the team has 1 strikeout, no walks against him. So do with that info what you want, but Yamamoto's pretty unfamiliar to the White Sox. I expect him to pitch well here. Sean Burke is pitching for the White Sox here, and he's been surprisingly good this season. 3.88 ERA, 1.18 whip, although I don't know if that's going to continue. He's still pretty young. I think he might have been a rookie last year or something, but he was obviously not this good last year. He's been a little bit worse at home, 4.03 home ERA. His last outing was concerning. He walked 5 guys against Philadelphia. That's not good, although he still had 7 strikeouts. And the previous starts that he was making were not really that bad, so maybe this was a little bit of a speed bump or whatever, and he might come back into form here, but he's got to face the Dodgers. Not an easy task. Overall, pretty good numbers here, though. Pretty low hit rate. His walk rate is too high, though, so that's the one issue with him, really. His strikeout rate is all right. Against the Dodgers, they have 16 at-bats against him. 1 strikeout, 2 walks, 188 batting average allowed, and 653 OPS. So he does have good numbers against the Dodgers in a limited sample size, but now that they've seen him, some of these guys, only 6 guys, but 6 guys have seen him before. Maybe they will hit him a little bit better now that they've seen him, but I don't know. This game mostly looks like more of an under game to me. Also, I don't know if Ohtani is going to be in the lineup because he's day-to-day with like some sort of, it's his knee, I guess. I thought it was his back. He's been day-to-day, so I don't know. I think he's been out of the lineup the last couple of days. Let me see. No, he missed yesterday, so I don't know. He was not in the lineup yesterday, but I don't know if he's going to be in the lineup today. We will find out, I suppose. All right. So, yeah, this game, I think an under makes sense here. I think I would go first 5 because I don't know. I kind of want to avoid both bullpens here. The over is getting the money, but it is public. 81% of tickets, 90% of the cash on the over. Totals at 8. Dodgers are getting some of the money, but they are really public. 89% of tickets, 95% of the cash on the Dodgers at minus 200 something. I would not lay a money line with the Dodgers, man. I can tell you that. The White Sox might be able to hang in this game. I don't know. But I think the early parts of this game will be lower scoring. That would be my read on this. So I think first 5 under is probably what I would do in that game, but I don't really want to do it. So Dodgers also hit well on the road, so that is something to consider. Their offense has been better on the road than at home, I think. I think the Dodgers and Atlanta, that is the case with both of them. All right. Dirty Sock, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. All right. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back, and then we have to do WNBA, NBA, and I'll talk about the World Cup briefly, but I don't know shit about it, so I'll be right back. All right. Oh, I think my mic was not turned off. Oh, well. Whatever. All right. Let me see. What's the next game here? It is Houston and Kansas City. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, that's my other play. And when I first thought about this, I was thinking over made sense in this game. But then I looked at it and I was like, wait, no. Kansas City first 5 money line is going to be the play here. Minus 135 is the best price that I found, which was at the Roman Emperor's book, if you know what I mean. That's where I found that one. These two teams both have really bad bullpens, so I'm not going to do anything with these bullpens here, especially not Kansas City's. So I'm taking them out of the equation. Kansas City used 5 guys out of the bullpen, and they're a very bad bullpen. Houston used a ton. Houston used 6. So whatever you do here, do not rely on these bullpens to do anything other than give up runs. Houston, number 23 in bullpen. They definitely suck. Kansas City, 28th in bullpen. These are not good bullpens. The offenses, Houston's been all right at 8th, and Kansas City has not been good at 25th. So, yes, I know we're playing on a team that does not have the better offense by any means, but this is about the pitching, man. The starting pitching. We're going to fade Mike Burrows again. We faded him in his last outing. We got to win with that, which was not his last outing, but whatever it was. It was Gage Jump. We played on him against Mike Burrows. Burrows has been really struggling, man. 5.77 ERA, 1.57 whip. This is not good. Although he is better on the road, 4.34 road ERA. So there is that, but I don't know if that's good enough. Yeah, I mean, I know, again, that has been helpful to him pitching on the road, but this past month, well, in this month of June, I mean, he's gone 10 innings, allowing 16 hits, 7 walks, and only getting 6 strikeouts, tallying 6 strikeouts, and he's allowed 4 home runs. He's pitching really, really poorly here. More walks than strikeouts is terrible. Way too hittable, too. Yeah, there's just nothing to like about this. He's allowed way more hits than innings pitched on the season. His home run rate is high. Walk rate is fairly high. Strikeout rate low. I don't see what there is to like about this. There's not a lot, other than the fact that he's unfamiliar to Kansas City, but his unfamiliarity has not been enough this season. Like, a lot of these teams that have been unfamiliar with him have still hit him. Only Isaac Collins on Kansas City has ever faced him. He's 0 for 1, but with 2 walks. But still, I think Burrows is absolutely fadeable here. And we're going to back Noah Cameron, who I liked last year, and he's starting to pitch that way again this year, man. He's starting to look pretty good again. He's got a 3.84 ERA, 1.19 whip, which is pretty good considering he was pretty bad for about a month and a half at the beginning of this season. But he was good last year. I like him. He's been pretty much the same home and away, a little bit worse than home, but not too bad. And he's been, like I said, his last 4 starts, or really even more than that, maybe his last 5 starts, you could say, have all been good. This month, he's got 15 strikeouts and no walks and only 4 hits allowed in 13 innings. Both those starts on the road, but still, he's pitching really well right now. He's in form right now. He obviously has his command totally operating right now. He looks good right now. He's got a decent strikeout rate on the season, a hit rate that's pretty low, and his walk rate is okay enough. Against Houston, you want to talk about unfamiliarity because he has it. Only Loperfido, however you pronounce his name, has faced him, and he's 0 for 2 against him with no strikeouts, no walks. So we are going to back Noah Cameron against Mike Burrows here, and that's my other play for today. First 5, Kansas City money line. Which I would do it anywhere if it's in like the minus 130s, minus 140s range probably. I think it's good. And then if they are tied at the end of 4, it'll be a push. All right, Philadelphia at Milwaukee on Fox Sports 1. Jacob Misiorowski, man. He had bad numbers against Philly in a small sample size. I still thought he would pitch well, and yeah, that's what happened in that game. I think that I wound up kind of landing on Milwaukee to go over their team total in yesterday's game. I don't know if they did. They scored 6 runs. I guess, yeah, they did. I guess they must have because they think the full game total was 7.5. So Misiorowski was insane in the game. He had a complete game, one-hit shutout with 15 strikeouts, if you guys didn't see that. And I saw some ridiculous stat, which was that I think he's thrown a pitch of 101 miles an hour or more 140 times or something like that this season, and all other starting pitchers have only done that 14 times this season. Some ridiculous stat like that. I don't know, man. I think this guy was created in some sort of laboratory. I have no idea, but he's not pitching today, obviously. But that was an insane performance. And what that did do is that means that Milwaukee's bullpen is completely rested. They didn't use anybody. They haven't used anybody for the last 2 days. So Milwaukee's bullpen is very ready to go in this game. So they will have a bullpen edge. They have a bullpen edge anyway. Philadelphia's bullpen is okay. They used 3 guys out of it yesterday. But Milwaukee's got the bullpen edge. Their number, where are they? They're only 12th, but their ERA is a lot better than that. Philadelphia's 14th, but lesser ERA, less rested. You get what I'm saying. Philadelphia, offensively, they've not been good. They're number 28, and the Brewers are number 8. So the Brewers have the better offense here. Aaron Nola, pitching for Philadelphia, I tried to back him in his last start, man. It didn't work well. I don't know what to do with this guy. He seems like he's not going to be able to recover from that injury, surgery situation, man, because he used to be really good. He's got a 5.86 ERA, 1.45 whip this year. That's not good. A little bit better on the road, 5.59 road ERA. That last start, like I said, he walked 4 guys against the White Sox. Pitched well in the previous starts against San Diego, but that was San Diego. So, yeah, I fucked up. The White Sox were able to get to him. I don't know, man. I don't think I could trust Nola. He's got too high of a hit rate here. His walk rate's a bit high, too. Strikeout rate is actually good, though. So that's the thing. Like, a lot of times, these guys, when they come back from surgery, like, their strikeout rate is way down. That's not really the case with him. So there are still some indicators that he might come back into form here, but I don't know. His numbers against Milwaukee are good in his career. 127 at-bats, 37-5 strikeout walk ratio, 228 average, 628 OPS. I mean, that looks like some stuff that I would kind of want to back, but I don't think I could do it here, man. Yeah, like, I just can't trust him right now. He might come out and do well, but obviously those numbers were accumulated throughout his career, like most of it before he got injured, you know? So something to consider there. Shane Drohan is pitching for the Brewers. They still don't even have a picture of him here. The ESPN mugshot still doesn't have him. He's been good, though. 3.11 ERA, 1.12 whip. I think this is his first season in the majors, though, and he's 27. So I don't know. I think a lot of it is just because these hitters haven't seen him before, and he's a lefty. So I think the hitters just haven't really figured him out yet. He's got a 2.35 home ERA, which is good as well. You look at his overall numbers. His strikeout rate is pretty decent. Hit rate pretty decent. Walk rate pretty decent. I mean, everything decent. There you go. But he doesn't go deep into games, though. I think he's been used as a reliever quite a bit. Yeah, he's made 3 starts and 10 relief appearances this season, kind of as a long relief man in a lot of cases. They're starting to let him kind of go, though. He went 6 1/3 innings his last time out, so that was his first real, like, full-fledged start. And it was at Coors Field, which isn't really that easy of an undertaking, and he pitched fine in that game. So Drohan seems like he is actually okay. Philadelphia has not hit well this year, and they haven't seen him before, so it seems like Drohan should pitch pretty well here. This game looks like an under to me, man. I mean, you definitely have to worry about Nola, though. We do have concerns with Nola here for sure, but just looking at the matchup here and the fact that I think the public is probably not going to want to back an under in a game like this with 2 named teams and probably not liking or even knowing who either of these pitchers are. 82% of tickets, 88% of the cash on the over. But the over is public, so even though it's getting a little bit more of the cash. The over is public. Totals at 8. 74% of tickets, 94% of the cash on Milwaukee at about -140 here. So The money is hitting Milwaukee here. I mean, I guess I could see the reasoning behind that. If you play Milwaukee, you got to go full game with it because you want the full advantage of their bullpen, etc. I wouldn't really disagree. Milwaukee is the better team and probably should win the game. I think an under kind of makes more sense to me in that game, though. I think that both pitchers might actually do okay. Speaking of unders, under was my first thought in this next game with the Cubs and Giants. Cubs won 5-1 yesterday. Could be a bounce back spot for the Giants here, but I don't like the Giants. I just don't think they're that good. The Giants, their bullpen has been struggling too. They used 4 guys out of the bullpen yesterday, but they're pretty rested still, or at least were prior to that. The Cubs only used 2, though, and their bullpen is somewhat rested as well here. Cubs have the better bullpen. They're 9th in bullpen. Giants are 25th, so their bullpen has really fallen off. Not great. Cubs offensively are 12th, and the Giants are 11th. But again, I think it's because of those outlier performances the Giants had. I mean, they only scored 1 run yesterday. This is still not a good Giants offense, man. So I think the Cubs probably do have the better offense, like I said yesterday. And the Cubs have Ben Brown on the mound. He's been solid. I've backed him a couple of times on the show. He's got a 1.74 ERA, 0.88 whip. He was coming out of the bullpen for a while until they had starting pitching injuries, so they've moved him into the starting rotation. He's a guy that when I looked at his underlying stats, I always thought that he had some pretty good stuff, and it's showing right now. He's been good since he's been making full-length starts here. He's gone 5+ innings his last 4 of them against some pretty good offenses in here too. His last time out was actually against San Francisco, by the way, and I think that might have been the game that we won, but we had to win it in extra innings somehow. But Brown was really good in that game. So Brown, I know he only went 5 1/3 innings in that game, but he allowed no runs, 1 hit, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. So it should have been he should have gotten a win in the game, but he didn't because his offense behind him didn't do enough for him against Landon Raup, who I think pitched last night, by the way. Raup, should have given up more based on the amount of walks that he had and whatever. But so I think I still handicapped that game correctly, but whatever. Brown was good in the game. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in all of his full starts so far. He's allowed 1 or fewer in the last 3. He's doing well against the Giants. I know the Giants just saw him, so they are recently familiar with him, but they'd seen him before that too, and they have not succeeded against him. They have 33 at-bats against him. 1 extra base hit is a double from Adames. 11 strikeouts, 3 walks, 152 average, 404 OPS. So Brown looks like he matches up well here. I think he should pitch well here against what I think is a pretty weak Giant offense here. Trevor McDonald is pitching for the Giants. I like him too. I think he is good. He's young. A lot of lineups haven't seen him yet, although the Cubs have seen him now. 4.15 ERA, 1.18 whip. That whip is solid. He hasn't been as good at home, though. 5.29 home ERA, even though San Francisco's home ballpark is a more pitcher-friendly ballpark. So I don't know what's up with that. He did pitch against the Cubs in that same series, the last series these teams met up, and that was his last start that he made. He allowed 1 run on 4 hits in 5 innings, but he did have 3 walks, which isn't great, 6 strikeouts, and he's had 3 walks apiece in both of his starts this month, but he's been pitching pretty well for the most part, so I kind of think that's a little bit of an outlier. He's got a pretty good hit rate. His walk rate is, I guess, a little bit high, and his strikeout rate is all right. So generally, I think he's good, but the Cubs have now seen him, but they haven't really done that well against him. 21 at-bats, 238 average, 667 OPS. 1 extra base hit is a triple from Ian Happ, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks overall. So I think both pitchers actually look like they might do okay here. So I think this looks like an under to me. I don't know if I'd really want to include the San Francisco bullpen in that under, though. So maybe a first 5 under could be an approach here. Full game, I probably still wouldn't disagree with. The money disagrees, though. 55% of tickets, 87% of the cash on the over. The total's around 7.5 or 8, so odds makers have put up a pretty low total on this game, kind of telling you they think this is going to be a low-scoring game here. I agree with that. I like the under, like I said. I think maybe I'd go first 5 with it instead. If you can find a 4 at a decent price. in the first 5. Under 4 at like minus 125 or something. That might be the way to go here. I wouldn't disagree with the full game under either, though, but I think this game looks like an under to me. Maybe just a few question marks in there on that one. 79% of tickets, 91% of the cash on the Cubs for what that's worth. They're around minus 126 here. So the odds makers are telling you they like the Cubs to win this game. Professional money seems to be backing the Cubs as well, and I don't really disagree. I think Brown plus the Cubs bullpen, I think they're both better than McDonald plus the Giants bullpen. So I do kind of lean that way as well to the Cubs. And I think the Cubs' offense is still better, too. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention the Royals are getting the money here. I forgot to mention that in that other play. So both of my plays have the money backing it. 63% of tickets, 94% of the cash on the Royals. Although I'm going first 5. That's full game, but I'm still fine with that. Royals are around minus 126 there for the full game. And the money in that game is backing the over pretty strongly, which I forgot to really call that out. But if you go over in that Astros-Royals game, I think you got to go full game if you go over in that one. And I think it makes sense because you have one bad starting pitcher and 2 bad bullpens, so most things do line up towards an over there if you go full game on that. All right. I'm a little bit all over the place here. Colorado and the A's playing in Las Vegas again here. And we have another ridiculously high total because we're at semi-high elevation here. But if you look at what these Vegas games have been, the first game saw a 29 run score, which is a ton. But then we've had 12, 7, and 10. So the last 3 games in the stadium have all gone under these enormous totals they're putting up there. So it seems like the total they're putting up there is too high, and they keep doing it. But in this game, this particular matchup, I would not want to be on an under, though. I will tell you that. Even though I think that number is too high, I think I would only probably be able to play this particular game over the total. I mean, you do have 2 bad bullpens here. We have Colorado, who, let me see. Colorado used 4 guys out of the bullpen. They have a pretty used bullpen right now, which is not good for them. The A's have a less used bullpen here. They used 3 guys out of the bullpen yesterday, so they do have a bullpen advantage. They're the better bullpen anyway. They're number 20, but they're not a great bullpen. Colorado's bullpen is bad, 26th, and they're dead last in ERA. Hitting-wise, Colorado's 16th, A's 7th. So offenses that can hit a bit here. Kyle Freeland is pitching for Colorado. He has not been good. 7.81 ERA, 1.7 whip. This is some pretty bad stuff here. He's been even worse on the road, 8.07 road ERA. I don't even know if I want to say he's pitched okay in his 2 starts this month, but I guess relatively he's been okay this month, but still only 6 strikeouts in 10 2/3 innings. 14 hits allowed is certainly not good. 2 walks is fine. He's got a fairly low walk rate, but his hit rate is really high, and he's a pretty extreme fly ball pitcher, and he's allowed a pretty good amount of home runs here. His strikeout rate is not even really that high either, so that probably does not play well, not only in his home stadium, of course, field, but I don't think that's going to play well in this stadium either. His home run conduciveness, I guess, and the amount of fly balls that he gives up. His numbers against the A's are not good, but it's a very small sample size. They have 4 hitters who have faced him. Rooker is now hurt, by the way, for the A's, so he's not going to be in these stats here. Freeland has 11 at-bats against them, 273 average, 1152 OPS, 2-to-1 strikeout walk ratio. There are some extra base hits in here. Heim has a home run against him. Langoliers has a double and a triple off him, so do with all that info what you want, but I do not think Freeland is going to pitch well here. And the A's are going with Joey Estes, who has not pitched yet this season. But if you look at what he's done over his career, which started in 2023 when the A's were still Oakland, there's nothing to like about any of this. He's got a 5.51 career ERA, 1.3 whip. That's not good. A low strikeout rate. The walk rate is not too bad though, and the hit rate is just too high. So he's a very hittable pitcher. I don't like what I'm seeing, although he's only 24, so you got to give him at least a little bit of leeway there where he might get better. You know what I mean? Like they might have rushed him up, bringing him into the league at the age of like 21. You know what I mean? So, and then against Colorado, they have seen him a bit. They have 18 at-bats, 4 hitters have faced him, and they've done well against him. 4.44 average, 14.44 OPS, 4-1 strikeout walk ratio. I've not looked at what Estes has done in AAA or in the minors this year. Presumably, he's been pitching in the minors this year. They brought him up, though, but he does not look like he matches up well here. There's nothing to really see in what he's done in the majors so far to really want to trust him here. So I think an over might actually be the approach here, but the total is just so high at 14. Like, you need a lot of things to go right to get this thing over the total. Even though I know that first game in this park was ridiculously high scoring, but the rest of the games were more normal. Money is hitting the under. 77% of tickets, 87% of the cash on the under 14 here. I still think an over would be the way I would play it, though, but I don't really want to do it. 84% of tickets, 91% of the cash on the A's, who are pretty heavily favored because the Rockies suck. But does Estes, who has like no track record of doing anything great in the majors so far, does he deserve to be a minus 170 favorite? Probably not. 84% of tickets, 91% of the cash on the A's, though. I mean, they are the better team, obviously. They do have a bullpen advantage, so you give them that, and a better offense, so whatever. All right, and then we have Tampa and Anaheim. Anaheim won the game yesterday. They've won 3 in a row, so there you go. They won 4-3 yesterday. Tampa, like I said, I think Tampa's not as good as their record makes them look at the very least. They do have a rested bullpen here, though. They didn't use anybody on Thursday, and they used one guy out of the bullpen yesterday. Anaheim's bullpen is bad. They used 3 guys out of the bullpen yesterday, but nobody the day before that. Still, Anaheim is a very bad bullpen, number 27. Tampa's not that good, though, at 19th, so I don't like either of these bullpens here, although Tampa's is the better one. Tampa's 13th in offense. They've dropped a little bit in offense. The Angels are 21st, though. Tampa's going with Griffin Jacks, which means it's kind of a pseudo bullpen game for them here. He's not great. 4.15 ERA. 1.41 whip is not good. Decent road ERA, though. 3.63 road ERA, but I don't know what you're going to get out of him here, man. I mean, he's reached 5 innings a few times this year, and he's had some shorter outings as well, so I don't know what they're going to do. I think it's going to depend on what the matchups are and how he's pitching, so probably, I mean, I'm going to guess he's going to get you probably 3-4 innings here, but I have no idea. I don't think he's that good, though. Anaheim has 14 at-bats against him, 286 average, only a 619 OPS, though. They have no extra base hits against him. 7 strikeouts, 1 walk. So, Jacks, I mean, he might do okay here. Jose Soriano is pitching for Anaheim. He's at least an actual starter. 2.96 ERA, 1.24 whip. He's not as good as he was early this season when he was dominating. And you know what I always say about him is he's not as good at home, although this year he's been okay. 3.66 home ERA. Still not as good at home, though. And last year he was really bad at home. This month he has not pitched that well, though. His walk rate is ridiculous. In 10 2/3 innings, 9 walks along with 9 strikeouts. That is not going to get the job done usually, man. You cannot walk that many guys. And 11 hits allowed, not great either. And most of those walks came in a home start against Colorado, which is pretty damning because they are not a good offense. On the road, they're not. The other start was against the Dodgers, so maybe you give him a little bit of a pass for that. He's got a high strikeout rate on the season and a low hit rate, but his walk rate has gotten really high. So that's his main problem is the walks. His numbers against Tampa are not good. In 33 at-bats, 364 average allowed, 837 OPS, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. So Tampa might be able to get to him here. I think there are more indicators for an over here than anything else. You got 2 bad bullpens, and you could see some runs scored against both of these starters here. So I think an over makes the most sense in this one. The total's fairly low at 8, which the odds makers are kind of telling me that they disagree with me on the game being an over, but 50% of tickets on the over, 55% of the cash on the under. That's not really a significant split there, so I don't know. And then the money is coming in on Tampa Bay, but I don't even see what the money. Oh, now I do see. Tampa Bay is a small favorite here, around minus 112, I guess. 62% of tickets, 92% of the cash on Tampa. Do with that info what you want, but I would lean over in that game. All right. finally, the baseball talk is over. WNBA, we have 4 WNBA Cup games here. They're all in the evening. The early evening game on Peacock and NBC, which is Indiana and Connecticut. This looks like a mismatch. I mean, Connecticut's the worst team in the league. Indiana's good. They're better than people think they are. Connecticut is also coming off almost upsetting Toronto on Wednesday. They went into overtime. Again, I talk about when teams go into overtime, when they play real close against the team as a big underdog, they were 8.5-point underdogs in that game. A lot of times they'll come up flat in the next game after that. But what I will say is if you look at the stats in this game, Toronto had, 11 more free throw makes in the game. And somehow Connecticut still almost beat them. So Connecticut outplayed them in the game. Connecticut out-rebounded them by double digits. Connecticut led the game 72% of the game. So those stats kind of worry me a little bit about wanting to fade Connecticut in this game here today. But generally, yes, I would say when a team is a big underdog and they fall just short like that, it could definitely hang them over into the next game. But there are some regression points here where they might shoot better from the free throw line here. They might clean up the turnover issues a little bit now that they're back at home. Indiana, though, I think they should be in a positive spot because they just barely got by Chicago. This was an overtime game as well. This was 2 days ago, so Indiana has one fewer day rest. But if you look at what happened in this game, Indiana, I mean, they led 75% of the game. They won the rebound battle by double digits. They should not have almost lost this game. And they were 9.5-point favorites. So they're in a situation where I talk about when a team is a big favorite and they almost lose, that tends to get them focused in the next game. It tends to refocus them. So from the situation perspective, I lean Indiana here, but you're having to lay a lot of points on the road. The money agrees, 80% of tickets, 89% of the cash on Indiana. You're laying like 10.5 or 10 here with them right now, though. But that is the way I would lean if I was going to play that one. Minnesota and Vegas, these are 2 of the best teams in the league. CBS Paramount Plus has this game. I don't have a good read on this one. Vegas is on a roll right now. They've won all the Cup games so far. All these games today are more Cup games, so I don't even know how the Cup stuff works, but whatever. Vegas has won all the games so far. They just won in Portland, and now they're coming back home, but they're not going to overlook Minnesota. Minnesota still looks like they don't have Collier back. She's potentially coming back in the next game, and that's going to make Minnesota even better. They're already the best team in the league right now without her, which is insane to think about. Minnesota's won a ton of games in a row here. They've won 8 games in a row, and they just blew out Dallas in their last game, and now they're going to Vegas here. I think both teams show up. Both teams have momentum here. This game looks like you have to just handicap it as a numbers handicap here. Vegas is around a 2.5-point favorite here, 3.5 at a couple of the books. Money is all playing Minnesota, though. 50% of tickets, 94% of the cash on Minnesota. I don't have a great read on this one. Again, I think both teams are going to show up. But the one thing that you can read into a little bit is that Minnesota's been really good on the road. They're 5-0 on the road, and Vegas is only 2-2 at home. So the home road splits at least do favor Minnesota here. And they're a little bit of an underdog, so you might be able to lean into that a little bit. Dallas at Portland. Portland has lost all their Cup games, I'm pretty sure. It's an expansion team that's not doing well recently. They just got blown out by Vegas. Not really blown out, but lost by double digits. Staying at home, they might show up and play a little bit better here. Dallas has been playing some good basketball, though, and they're coming in off another win against Phoenix. I don't know if Dallas is going to pay that much attention to Portland, though. And they're going to a venue they're not familiar with. They haven't been here before because Portland's an expansion team. And Dallas does have to turn around and play Vegas in 2 days on a TV game on USA Network. So Dallas does have a little bit of a look-ahead spot here. So I would slightly lean Portland in this one. Let me see. Money seems like it agrees. Dallas is -5.5 on the road here, or -6. They're very public, it looks like. 94% of the tickets, only 92% of the cash on them. So I think I agree with that market read there. I'm agreeing with all the market reads here so far. I would lean Portland plus the points there, but not strong. In fact, I think my strongest opinion is laying the points with Indiana here, but I still don't really want to do that. Laying points on the road, yeah, a little bit iffy. Plus, Connecticut was actually not bad in that last game, like I pointed out. And then LA at Phoenix is the last game. Phoenix is still a team that I think is under the radar. I think they're better than their record looks. They've lost 2 games in a row now, but road games to Golden State and Dallas, those are decent teams. The problem is Phoenix is returning home from a long road trip, and you know I don't like that spot. They've been away since June 3rd. I don't like it. When a team returns home from the road, a lot of times they struggle. They have home life to get back to, whatever. The last time they were in that spot, they got annihilated by Minnesota, although Minnesota's really good. But still, this is a negative spot generally. They do have Vegas up next too, so possible look ahead. But they might stay focused just because they did lose to LA the last time they played them, which was at home on May 21st. LA beat them by 9 at home, so something to keep in mind there. And if you dig into this box score here, I don't think there was a ton to really see here. Well, actually, the big thing was, there was. The big thing was LA hit 7 more threes than Phoenix did, so that was the big outlier there. LA hit almost half of their threes. That's probably going to regress. So that would be the one big regression point from that game. Phoenix did out-rebound them and stuff, although LA led the whole game, but I think that was just because they were not missing from threes, so that should be a regression point. So that would have me looking at Phoenix here. Also, the fact that Phoenix was a 2-point favorite or something like that in that game, and now they're a 1.5 point underdog. So, based on what we've seen out of these teams since then, this line has moved like 3.5 points. Maybe that's a little bit of an overreaction to all that. So, I think there is some line value on Phoenix here, but the line might have moved also because the odds makers know the return home spot is not good. So, I can't play Phoenix in a return home spot, man, even though it does look like kind of a little bit of maybe a quick revenge angle on Phoenix, or LA might regress a little bit. LA's not really in a bad spot, though. They just barely got by Seattle, who sucks, in their last game. So they should probably be focused here coming into this game against Phoenix. So the money is indicating on LA a little bit, but they are really public. They're like a 1-point favorite basically here right now. 90% of tickets, 94% of the cash on them. Do with that info what you want, man. And by the way, I was correct about Toronto covering and the over in that game yesterday. Those both hit, but they both barely hit. But they did both hit yesterday in that Toronto-Washington game. So I had those correct in the WNBA. All right, NBA, I don't even want to fucking talk about it. San Antonio, just a historic collapse, man. Like I told you, San Antonio's youth and their coaching, those are the reasons why they're losing this series. If you look at the analytics, like the statistics of these games, San Antonio has been the better team in 3 out of the 4 games so far. And the only game where they were not the better team was game 2, I believe, which they did lose, yes. But that was still pretty close statistically. San Antonio has had a double-digit lead in every game. They've had a double-digit lead in the first quarter of every game. So they've come out hot in every game. And usually when you come out hot and you punch the other team in the mouth, usually you can kind of just ride that. You know what I mean? But dude, like I said, they're just too young. Like, I seriously do not think this Knicks team would be doing this well against the Thunder. I just don't. The Thunder just have way more experience. The Thunder would not be collapsing like San Antonio. San Antonio completely dominated that last game, game 4. Like, I looked at the score. I was at the Primus show that night. I looked at the score. I'm like, hell yeah, San Antonio's going to win. San Antonio was up 29 at the fucking half, and they were still winning by 22 in the third quarter, and they were winning by at least 18 when I saw it in the fourth quarter. How do you blow this game? And then it still took some ridiculous shit at the end of the game for them to blow it, like some just horrible, like just, just stuff that teams should not make these fundamental mistakes. But again, San Antonio's really young, so that's part of it. But that wasn't even what happened. Like, if you watch the very end of that game, well, first of all, the Knicks got a little bit lucky with the winning score that they had. They were losing by 1, and they took a 3 because they were taking a ton of threes. Both teams were, which is very stupid on San Antonio's part. The San Antonio took even more, which I'll talk about in a minute, which is really dumb. The Knicks took that 3, missed it, but Anunoby was on top of it. And he made a really good play and was able to get the ball and tip it in. Very, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is there, but very, he was on his toes for that, I guess. Very smart isn't really the word I'm looking for, but whatever the word I'm looking for is when you're, you're understanding everything that's happening around you. That was a very, very good play for him to do that. But yeah, the Knicks took a 3 on that, and they missed the 3. So San Antonio could have easily gotten the rebound on that. If they do that, they probably win the game. But then even after that, San Antonio has the ball with the shot clock turned off, which, by the way, twice in this series that's been the case. In 2 of San Antonio's losses, they've had the ball in a game where they were either tied or down by 1 with the final possession. So had the ball with the shot clock turned off, and they didn't win either game. So that means the coach is not drawing up a good play, or the team is just making all these mistakes. Now, what happened was, so I believe after the Knicks took the lead, I believe San Antonio, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they took another shot and missed, and then the Knicks missed another shot. I don't remember what it was, but what happened was I know San Antonio had the ball with like 14 seconds left. No, this is what it was. San Antonio was up 1. It was before the Knicks had that game-winning shot, before that happened, because that was with 1 second left, and San Antonio couldn't do anything after that. Yeah, that's what it was. Before that, San Antonio, this is when they had the ball with the shot clock turned off, and they allowed the Knicks to get another possession because that's how stupid they are. And it wasn't even one of San Antonio's younger guys. It was De'Aaron Fox, I'm pretty sure, who made the huge mistake, which was San Antonio was up by 1, and they got the ball back. If you saw it, the ball went down towards San Antonio, or towards the Knicks end of the court, like the San Antonio's shooting end of the court. Fox got the ball. All he has to do is hold on to the ball and get fouled, even though I know he's not a great free throw shooter. But that's what you do. You hold on to the ball, or maybe try to look for somebody to pass it to really quick. The last thing you do is try to lay it in. There are guys right behind you. He tried to go for the layup, and there was a defender right there. And that's how the Knicks got the ball back for that final possession. Absolutely ridiculous. Horrible. So, again, San Antonio they've been the better team in this series, and they've thrown the series away with all these ridiculous, like a historic collapse here, just ridiculous, horrible fundamentals down the stretch, blowing double-digit leads in every game. And in fact, San Antonio's had the bigger lead in 3 out of the 4 games. The only one where they didn't was Game 2, which they still led by double digits in that game at one point. They were leading 97% of this game in Game 4, won the rebound battle, won the turnover battle. The Knicks did go to the line a bit more, which I said I thought would happen because usually those things flip in each game. So that probably does mean San Antonio will get to the line more in the game tonight because usually those things keep flip-flopping. And then there is a regression point from the Knicks here, though. The Knicks hit 15 threes the Knicks shot 47% from 3, So San Antonio did hit more threes, but that's because they were taking way more of them. So the Knicks shooting 47% from 3, that should regress in this game. They're probably not going to hit 47% again. I mean, that's a pretty big outlier. So that's the big outlier from this game. So if you look at this game statistically, San Antonio should have won the game. They were dominating most of the game. The big outlier was the 3-point shooting, which should regress on the part of the Knicks. So those things would have you looking at San Antonio in the game tonight. But I can't do it because of that epic collapse, man. Like I pointed out, I gave you guys the Knicks as a play after Cleveland collapsed like that against the Knicks. But that was a little bit of a different story because Cleveland was a big underdog, and they needed that game 1 to stay in it. But it is still similar. San Antonio, they had that game 1. It would have been a 2-2 series, and San Antonio would have had home court back, and they would have been the favorite in the series again. That's how close San Antonio was. Like, people think the Knicks are dominating this series. They are not at all. That was how close San Antonio was to getting home court right back. And the games that they lost otherwise were that close, too. And San Antonio's been good enough defensively in this series that, like I said, the Knicks have put up some of their lowest point totals throughout the entire playoffs, all in this series. And the game where the Knicks put up the higher point total, they lost. So some things to consider here. That San Antonio has not been as bad as people think in the series. It's been fundamentals and coaching have been the huge issues for them, though, and just the youth on the team. So, yeah, but after that happened, I just don't know that they're going to be able to bounce back, and that's the problem. So looking at the money here, I got to get to World Cup, and then the show will finally be finished. The money is backing the Spurs here at -5.5. They're laying the same amount of points they were in the other home games, basically. 64% of tickets on the Knicks. The public will be on the Knicks, as they have been all series. Another thing that pisses me off, because usually public underdogs don't win, usually. 62% of the cash on San Antonio, so the money is coming in on San Antonio. And I guess there is one other thing to consider where maybe the Knicks have this mindset where, maybe they get a little bit cocky being up 3-1 and think, all right, well, the series is going to be over anyway. And maybe in the back of their mind, maybe they do kind of want to clinch at home. You know what I mean? In game 6. So maybe they kind of want a game 6. Even though if they lose this game, it's like San Antonio's kind of hanging around if they win this game tonight, and they are favored to do so. So obviously I hope it happens, but I have no faith in San Antonio at this point at all. If they had tied it 2-2, I'd be feeling pretty good. I was feeling good about that. Just absolutely, it's inexplicable, man. You cannot have a historic collapse. It was the worst collapse in playoff history, and I think there were some metrics that have it as the worst collapse in NBA history. I forget what those metrics were. Oh, I think one of the things was San Antonio scored 76 points in the first half, I think, and 29 in the second half. That's never happened before in NBA history, regular season or postseason. No team has ever scored, I think what it was like 70-something or more points in the first half and then failed to reach 30 points in the second half. San Antonio is the only team to ever do that. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. But anyway, total in this game is right around the same number, too, that it has been all series, 216.5. Do with that what you want. The money is backing the over. 51% of tickets, 70% of the cash on the over. I'm not sure about that because these teams have an extra day off here, and that can help the defense and kind of cool off the offense a little bit. So I'm not sure about the over in this one. I don't know. I might slightly disagree with that. I might slightly lean under, but it's all going to depend on San Antonio. Like, everything about this game depends on what their mindset is. Like, are they just going to cave after they collapsed epically in game 4? Are they just going to show up and have nothing left here? Because if that's the case, then an over might make more sense because they're not going to be playing good defense. And if that's the case, then the Knicks make sense. But if that's not going to be the case, and you want to just look at how the series is played out statistically, then San Antonio makes sense in this game in some ways, and maybe an under makes a little bit more sense. So I don't know, man. Do with that info what you want, I guess, like I always say. But also, if San Antonio does just pack it in, though, here, the over makes more sense probably in like a first half capacity, if that's going to be the case, because when you get later in the game, if it's like a blowout or something, although I don't know, none of the games in this series have been a blowout, except Game 4 should have been a San Antonio blowout. But all the other games in the series have been close-ish. So, yeah, I mean, but if it is going to be a blowout, it might mean that San Antonio is getting blown out because they just have packed it in. And if that's the case, then maybe the pace slows down, and that would worry me a little bit about an over later in the game. But, yeah, those are my thoughts on the game. All right, and then we have World Cup here. The Knicks rioting is absolute fucking bullshit. Their fan base is the most disgusting fan base in sports, probably. They're throwing eggs at Wembanyama, totally unacceptable. After you're up 3-1, you basically won the series, and you're going to do that? Fuck off. Just because he committed a flagrant foul that wasn't called in one of the games. As if the Knicks players haven't done similar shit. Like, give me a break. Especially, like, the Knicks of, like, the 90s and whatever. Come on. And yeah, they're rioting. They're beating up people just for having Spurs uniforms on. But after they won, they're going into like fast food restaurants and destroying the restaurants. Fuck you, dude. Like, that's a business that somebody's running. This fan base deserves absolutely nothing. This fan base deserves nothing, and they're going to get a Knicks championship and a Yankees championship probably. They can all get fucked. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. All right. Obviously, any team that has a lead like that, like, again, I don't think it's even happened before. I mean, a lead of that capacity has been blown before in a regular season game before, never in the postseason. It's one of the most epic collapses ever. Like, it's up there with Atlanta Falcons collapsing and throwing the Super Bowl, which I was pissed about because I was not a fan of Tom Brady or Bill Belichick. And then the other one, the big one in football that nobody really talks about because nobody is old enough to remember it now, but in the 90s, the Buffalo Bills had the biggest comeback ever, and it was with Jim Kelly injured. Frank Reich, the coach of the Colts for a while. Frank Reich was the quarterback for the Bills there. He was Kelly's backup. He came in and led them to whatever it was. What were they down? 40 points in that game against the Houston Oilers, and they won the game. It's the most famous NFL playoff comeback ever, but people don't talk about it anymore. But anyway, all right. We have 3 World Cup games here. They're all in the U.S. in various locations. The first game in the afternoon is in California in Santa Clara. It's at Levi Stadium, which is the San Francisco 49ers stadium. It's Qatar and Switzerland in whatever the fuck group this is. I think Switzerland is the best team in this group, I think. I forget who's in this group. I don't know. Switzerland's a huge favorite, minus 475. They should win. I don't really think there's a whole lot to talk about here. I just have nothing on this game, basically. Switzerland is a huge favorite, okay? There you go. I mean, some guys might find ways to maybe look at totals here. Like I said, I think a lot of these totals are going under in these early games, or you have a tendency to go a bit under because these teams just haven't played for a while. The next games are a little bit more interesting. In East Rutherford, New Jersey, which is MetLife Stadium, which is the Jets and Giants Stadium, Brazil is playing Morocco. Brazil is always considered to be one of these, upper echelon teams. And yeah, they're one of the top 5 teams probably as far as the odds are concerned. But they're not as, they're not as good as they usually are, I think. Like, people would tend to think that they're probably one of the top, maybe 2 or 3 teams in the odds. But that's not the case. They're 5th or 6th. And they won the World Cup that everybody's talking about, the World Cup in the U.S. in 94, because there were all these documentaries about it. The OJ thing was going on at the same time, and the Knicks being in the finals. That was the last time they had a lead in an NBA Finals before they blew it against the Houston Rockets. They blew it against a Texas team, but they were winning that series 3-2, not 3-1. And Houston had already, I believe Houston had, Houston won the championship that year, and then Houston lost to the Bulls the next year, I think. But that Houston team had Akeem Olajuwon and some other experienced players, though. Anyway, at least I think he was pretty experienced at that point. But anyway, yeah, Brazil won that World Cup that year, by the way, the one in the U.S. in 94. So people might be thinking about that. I think Brazil might be a little bit overvalued here, so I kind of like Morocco to maybe hang around in this. So Morocco's not a bad team, and they made some noise in some World Cups recently, so that might be the way that I would lean in this one. Brazil's only a minus 145 favorite on the three-way line, which does mean they're the better team, but it doesn't mean that it's insurmountable. And I think what that means is you can take Morocco at probably around plus 115 or so on the win or draw. So if they win or it's a draw, you'd win that bet. You can get that at probably about plus 115 or so. That might be the way I would lean. I know I was wrong last night about the U.S. game. And by the way, the Canada game, I should have looked into it more because Canada, by the way, I believe they wound up winning the game yesterday, right? Did they? Or I forget. Did they win? No, it was a draw. My mistake. It was a draw. Canada, I believe they were 0-6 in World Cup play or something like that. Like, Canada had lost every one of their World Cup matchups, I'm pretty sure. So I did not realize that, although playing in Canada is a little bit of a different story, though. But that also kind of means that the public would not really want Canada. So anyway, whatever. And then this final game, Boston is being infiltrated by the Scots for this, which I think is actually fun. It's better than what we usually have as the infiltration that is usually happening in Boston. I'll take the Scots any day, man, playing their bagpipes and getting drunk and whatever. I like these guys. One of the dudes that's over here from Scotland is like famous because he went viral for talking about the food and the culture in Boston and New York and whatever. He got on Fox News because I guess he's a conservative or something as well. And now he's back in Boston, I assume, to go to this game in Gillette Stadium, or my apologies, Boston Stadium, because FIFA forces you to rename the stadium to something that is the city that you're playing near, because this is not even in Boston. It's in Foxborough, where the Patriots play, which is like a half an hour outside of Boston, but whatever. Haiti is playing Scotland here. Both teams, I think, are going to have some decent crowd support in this one, man. The Scots have taken over, like I said. There is some Haitian support in the area as well. Scotland's the better team, though. They're minus 190, and Scotland has not been in a World Cup since, like, 30 years ago or something. So there's a lot of hype around Scotland here, which maybe means they're favored by a little bit too much, but I'm rooting for them, man. I like what's going on with I like these guys, man. It's like Braveheart is coming to town here, man. I don't know what I would do with this game, though. I don't think I'd want to lay minus 190 with Scotland, though, on the money line. But I'm hoping they win the game. I'm not sure if they really will, though. But Oddsmaker's telling you they're the better team, so there you go. All these games are on Fox and Peacock and whatever the hell Telly is, like I said yesterday. So do with all that info what you want, but I don't know. I might wind up giving out some World Cup plays, but not in these opening games. I mean, I don't know enough about it, but I can use, like, you can fade some things that happen in, like, the first games or whatever and find some situations that'll set up later along. So maybe I will give out some plays, but not happening yet. So, but yes, go Scots. That's what I will say here. I'll probably root for Morocco, too. I don't know. Brazil, I don't know. They just always seem overhyped, and they always seem like real flop artists. So I'm not really a huge fan of them either. Whatever. All right, that's going to do it. I got nothing else to really talk about, I don't think. I thought I was going to mention one other thing. Scotland. Yeah, the other thing that's kind of weird is that you have these, like, teams in the World Cup. Like, FIFA recognizes different countries that aren't really countries, because the Scotland exit didn't happen, man. Skegsit or whatever didn't happen. But Scotland and England have different teams that are both in the World Cup here. So I was like, oh, that's weird, because they're both part of the UK. And then you have, like, I don't know, like Curacao is in this thing, and I'm like, they're not a country, right? Like, I don't know. Whatever. It's some weird stuff in the World Cup. And then, of course, there are countries that are banned from it, which is also really stupid. All right. And by the way, that only started happening, like, Russia only started not being allowed around, like, 2016 because of Russiagate. That's how fucking stupid that is. Total bullshit. Russiagate. A total hoax. I'm not going to get my show banned, but I think that's just common knowledge now. Like, just everybody pretty much accepts that, except for the most insane people that just deny reality. Anyway, that's going to do it. My plays today are in baseball, both of them. They are the under in the Red Sox game, Rangers Red Sox under 8, and Kansas City Royals money line first 5 around minus 135. Those are the only plays I got today. That's going to do it. Have a good day, everyone. I'm going to be in search of some lunch shortly. We need to get back on track here. Things not going well right now. Let's get some wins today. I'd love to go 2-0 here with these. That's going to do it. Learn to Toad on Twitter, Learn to Toad on Instagram, subscribe to this channel here, listen on audio, Apple, Spotify, Covered in Uke on YouTube. I got to get back to it. My voice is hurting right now. I'm beginning possibly creating another Uke album here, which this one is going to be sort of based off of random life events is kind of my idea right now, but although most of my songs kind of are that anyway, so I don't know. We'll see, but I'm starting to kind of mess around with that. We'll see about that. Patreon.com/LearnToToad if you want to throw me some extra support. Maybe I might drop some of the songs that I'm working on as, like, early content, maybe for Twitter subscriber content, and maybe Patreon stuff as well. Maybe that's how I'll do it. Got to think about it. Losercast every Tuesday night, and Giants G-Spot podcast are the other things that I do right now. That's going to do it. Peace.
But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me